The biggest project for the bid and for the Out and About group is around wayfinding signage. A number of cities, competitor cities, have really moved on in leaps and bounds with simple signage concepts to help visitors move around the city. And what Aberdeen Inspired is taking the lead in is to trying to come up with a package of signage that will help people move around the city. People will naturally shop certain ways around the city, but that means that there's probably other areas of the city that visitors don't naturally find. So we want to try to give them an opportunity to find those areas and for the businesses there to benefit from that, rather than just sticking to this kind of core central hub of the city centre that perhaps visitors would normally do. It's a project that will last 3 years, 4 years, possibly even longer, but will be the biggest project that the bid will actually tackle, but hopefully it'll have one of the biggest impacts as well. We're also looking at a system driven by a company called Path Intelligence that records how people move around a city centre, how long they stay, which areas of the city they visit. And if we can use that information, it helps us analyse where people are coming into the city, how long they're staying, so perhaps we can gear if we're putting different events in locations to encourage them to go to colder spots, or to encourage them to stay longer in the city. But at the moment it's all done in anecdotal feedback, and this system will give us a wealth of information and data to try to base decisions on, rather than just gut feelings. And it will also give us an opportunity to share this information with all the bid levy payers that will perhaps help them make some commercial decisions as well. We trialled a hopper bus for 2 Christmases, which was pretty much a way of trying to encourage people to shop different areas of the city, which we did with, if I'm honest, fairly limited success. It was an interesting idea and an interesting way of seeing if people would move around different areas of the city. When we have looked back at it, probably upon reflection, it isn't worth continuing, but it was definitely worth an exercise to see if we could encourage people to move around the city, particularly in the winter when the weather wasn't particularly good. I think we're always open to any other ideas that are out there, because the best ideas tend to come from the bid levy payers themselves, and we can see if we can make it happen. We acknowledge along the way we will probably make some mistakes, and as long as we learn from these mistakes quickly and don't repeat it, I think that's okay. But it's part of our goal to try to use as many initiatives as we can to make a difference within the city. So one thing I would probably suggest is if anybody does have good ideas or suggestions, please feed them back in. It's almost part of what we're there to actually do, and we can maybe make that happen. The ambassadors that we're looking to put in place around the city is another initiative, albeit perhaps starting a fairly small scale, where we're looking to have people dedicated to try to help visitors find their way around the city, give them information, perhaps even tell them about the history or any other information that visitors want to know. And at the moment there is probably a gap there that we really don't have anybody to support, particularly visitors from further afield. So we're looking to try to introduce ambassadors that should actually help that. The partnerships that the bids are involved in are critical. Taking the sort of out and about signage as an idea, we intend to take the lead on it, but it cannot be done without other stakeholders, whether that's the City Council or other parties. But what the Aberdeen Inspired will do will give us a vehicle to actually instigate some of these projects that others wouldn't do if we weren't there. But it will take involvement and participation from a number of groups within the city to really make it a success.